Okay, before we learned about a special type of equation called a direct variation equation. Remember, a direct variation equation was an equation that looked like this. So basically a line, k was called the constant of variation, k also was your slope. So it's just a line where the y-intercept 0, 0. We're going to learn about another type of variation equation. This one's called an inverse variation. Instead of y equals kx, the form looks like this. Y equals k divided by x. So notice that the x is on the bottom, the k is on the top, and this graph is no longer a graph. Okay, it looks like a curve. We're not going to look at the graphs for right now, but we want to be able to do the same thing, figure out what that k value is, and it's still called the constant of variation. So when you see an equation that looks like this, where y is on top, x is on the bottom, on the other side of the equal sign, we said that y is to vary inversely with x. So first thing we want to be able to do is identify whether an equation is a direct variation, which would look like this, inverse, which would look like this, k over x, or maybe it's just a different type of equation altogether, so we say neither. Okay? So you want to make sure you get y by itself. So the first equation, this is y equals k over x, so this would be an inverse. And if I ask you what the constant of variation would be, you would tell me 2. I'm going to go ahead and divide by 4 here. Notice this one is y equals kx, so this is my direct. Okay, C, I'm going to go ahead and subtract the 5x. Notice that the negative in front of the y stays, and you have to divide everything by -1, so this becomes a -3, this becomes a plus 5x. This is not an inverse or a direct because of that -3 there, so this is neither. Okay, lastly, I'm going to divide by x here, so the x ends up on the bottom, so this would be your inverse. Your k would be, in this case, 1/2. Okay, so first step, identifying whether it's a direct or an inverse. Next, I want to be able to find that k value and come up with some other points on the graph. So anytime you see these words, variables x and y vary inversely, you want to be thinking this, y equals k over x. And what we're trying to figure out is what that k is when I write my general equation. So I tell you that y is 6 and x is 3. So I'm going to plug in 6 for y and x for 3. And how do I solve for k? Multiply both sides by 3. So k ends up being 18. So part A is just the general equation, which is y equals 18 is my k over x. So there's part A. Now part B says use this equation and find y when x is 4. So I'm just going to plug in 4 for x. So it's really 18 over 4. I'm going to reduce. So my answer would be 9/2. Okay. Why don't you go ahead and try number 3 on your own. Why don't you pause it and then come back and check your answer. Okay, let's check your answer. So varies inversely. You're thinking y equals k over x. I'm going to plug in -2 for y, 12 for x. Same thing, multiply both sides by 12. So my k in this problem is -24. So my equation in part A is -24 over x. Okay, part B says plug in -3 for x. So if I do that, my y value is 8.